Hey, welcome my friends. Hello. Here we are. Today's date is the 12th of April 2023. Here we are. This is going to be Chat with Matt. Any luck, I'm in the ManTarA, no, I'm in the Bright Light Beings Facebook group, and here for about half an hour to talk to you and anyone else. Whether you're joining us live or whether you listen to this as a replay, doesn't really matter. But of course, I can't answer your questions verbally if you are watching the replay. But if you're here, very happy for you to speak, to basically type something in, to ask a question or talk to requests or pick an argument with me or whatever. Challenge me, for it is in being challenged that we all grow. There's no, I'm not here to have people blow hot air up my ass, that is for sure. Anyways, we're post-Easter, post-full moon, progressing towards, I guess, in about a week's time, we've got an eclipse coming, a solar eclipse that will be seen over a little bit of the top of Western Australia and into Indonesia. But nonetheless, for those of us who don't get to see much of it, it will still be an energetically powerful event. So that's happening at our next new moon, be a solar eclipse. So that's a little bit exciting. Powerful reset, and not that I've looked at what other people are saying about the astrology or whatnot. It's just these events, right? It seems to be incessant. Hello, Sister Jill. How are you? I have got a question here. What did I write into my little meme poster? It was about choose not to dilute your message, just to keep your egoic self comfortable. In other words, don't hide, don't modify who you are being in order to avoid potential judgment from others, right? Potential conflict and argument. It's time. This is what I said after. Just to keep your egoic self comfortable, it's time to be bold and speak your truth with confidence. Now, hey, Sister Susie, now that doesn't necessarily mean you go out willy-nilly soapboxing yourself and speaking of your beliefs so much. It's time to be bold and to be your truth more than just speak it with confidence, right? It's time to live from the example that feels authentic to you, truthful to you, as opposed to always intellectually modifying what you're doing in order to be acceptable based on what you believe other people are wanting from you, whether other people are people who are close to you in your circles or whether other people are society in general. Are you hiding your true self in order to fit a mold, right? To be congruous with a societal image that really isn't the truth of you. It might be close, but is it really your unique brilliance? Or are you hiding that in order to be camouflaged with, homogenous with the rest of your society? Which feels, of course, to the ego much more comfortable because the ego hates the idea of being rejected because rejected feels scary and dangerous. And it has been, of course, on this planet, being rejected from the tribe, from the society, from the community has been a very life-threatening event, and upsetting the quote-unquote wrong people, the powerful people in our said communities and structures, whether they be family structures or societal structures, has also been incredibly dangerous thing to do in our relatively recent past over the last few thousand years. So we're scared of doing that. Understandably, we're scared of doing that, but this is the process of self-mastery. We're now being enticed, invited into choosing that for ourselves. I'm just going to refresh this page so that I can check. So I did my last live stream in my subscription community and missed a whole heap of comments as I was going, but it seems that they're not there yet. Anyway, I do have a question in from Brother Paul, and believe it or not, Brother Paul, I actually had on my list of things to do, written a few days ago, to ring Paul down the bottom of my list. Not that you're on the bottom of the list, it's just that's the list that's sort of topped out the page, hasn't it? Good to see there are, a few things. There's a few things crossed out there, so I am getting there. We are travelling in 2 weeks tomorrow, starting a 4-month excursion, going to Vietnam via Bangkok, and then going to Croatia via Venice, and then going back to Bali via Thailand again, encompassing 4 months and 3 retreats delivered and a few retreats recce'd and scouted. So prepared. So that's happening in 2 weeks' time, and I am still busy finishing off some building work. But anyway, getting back to Brother Paul's question, how to stay in that place of being our dreams already experienced. How to stay in that place of being our dreams already experienced. Raising our vibration to that place of being, holding that space without holding too tight. How to be in faith without doubt, as the two can't exist together. Well, let's start at the end, because I don't believe your last sentence is strictly correct. Hey, Sister Maria. Hey, Susie. Yes, exactly, Susie. The Libra homebody is a little daunted by the prospect of being 4 months in a suitcase. But that's how we grow, moving out of our comfort zone and into expressions of self that are more expansive. So I don't believe it's true that faith and doubt can't exist together. I can definitely in myself maintain a deep level of strong faith and still experience all sorts of doubts, some of which are fleeting and some of which are pervasive. Doubts are very, very normal and natural, and I don't believe they are an indication that we have lost our faith. Because what I believe is that what we are feeling and what we are experiencing, what we are having mental thoughts about, is more a representation of what we are releasing rather than what we are being. So for me, when doubts are arising, it is an indication that I am triggering a process of purification. I'm actually expanding myself out of my comfort zone and thus pushing these doubts to the surface, and different sorts of fears and various levels of discomfort for that matter. They all sort of run hand in hand. So I encourage you all, my friends, not to judge yourself as non-confident, or whatever that word is. It's not disconfident. Whatever not having confidence is, or losing your faith just because you're experiencing a lot of doubt. I think we're all experiencing huge amounts of doubt at the moment. There is a huge purge of various fear and low self-worth safety issues at the moment, as we're going through a societal-wide crumbling of the structures that we have relied on for so long. It is incredibly normal and understandable that you are feeling doubtful at this time. You have doubts about your financial security, you have doubts about your health security, you have doubts about your government honouring your sovereign right to self-autonomy here on this planet, right? All sorts of doubts are going to be present because many of them are basically, founded in a reality that is unfolding in front of us, right? All of this stuff is crumbling, it is changing, it is getting intense, it is feeling edgy, right? So it's completely logical to have doubts, and it is still very, very possible to have a deep level faith that we will move through this process in a way that is fundamentally beneficial to us all. So that's the process, right, of managing our doubts so that they don't overly influence us. They don't create too intense a stress response that then shuts us down and creates contraction in our energetic fields and puts us into a mentality where we are over-emphasizing the potential threats to us, right? Because when we go into stress, threats become much more important to us, and we start to fixate on what feels threatening, and thus what you focus on you feed, and then you start to manifest these potential threats into your life, and they influence you more because you are focusing on them, and thus you create the situation that you feared. So the point is to be willing to feel the doubts without trying to push them away, or without becoming overly influenced by them, right? To just recognize that these are fragments of energy from your past coming up to clear and to be released. And so this is a constant, consistent dance that we have with these impressions that are arising from within us, right? Sometimes it's coming up like a sick feeling in our stomach. Sometimes it's coming up like a dread in our heart. Sometimes it's coming up like a whole heap of anxiety type, fear-based looping thoughts. Sometimes it's coming up as a combination of all. And what's behoved upon us is to breathe through that, is to consciously choose to reset our nervous system, right? To regulate our nervous system so that we don't induce this stress response that just creates a worsening of that symptomology. And of course, it's not easy, and so we have to move forward with compassion. We all fall into stress from time to time. I myself have had several, moments of nervous system overload in fear-based whatever purges, right? All of this fear comes up from within inside me, and my nervous system freaks out, and it's a shutdown moment or two where I have to really take myself off to self-regulate, right? I can't manage to keep functioning in the way that I would like to, and I need to go for a walk, or I need to have a shower, or I need to go to bed, or I need to do some other exercise, or I need to have a moment of really feeling into the overwhelming sense of dread or fear or discomfort, and then reprioritize, reperspectivize what's truly happening here. This is just a big release. I don't need to take this too seriously. I can, choose to consciously relax my body. I can use techniques to soften my body and allow my nervous system to regulate so that I can get a handle on this experience. And so this is what we're all moving through. This is the process. It's not all fucking milk and honey out there at the moment, that is for sure. So moving backwards through your question, I will get to you in a second, Jill. Moving backwards through your question, how to stay in that place of being our dreams already experienced. Again, it's just a discipline really to stay consistent with that choice. It's a choice, right? To stay in a place of being. We're always going to get pushed out of it. We're never going to stay in it 100% of the time. It's just how much can we stay in it, right? And it's not a competition, and there's no particular threshold. When you get over 70%, then life gets better. It might be over 30% and life gets significantly better for you. It doesn't really matter. The percentage doesn't matter, because we have an infinite capacity to be in our being. We don't even know what our being is. That being is infinite. So to stay in that place of being is an infinitely expansive journey. So there's no pass or fail on that, right? There's no pass or fail on that. It's just a choice to keep to use ritual if you need to, right? To have journaling practices, to have meditation practices, to take time before you fall to sleep, whatever it might be, to reconnect with your being and to reconnect with those dreams, and to relax into their expansive nature, right? Not to want them to come, and not to try hard to manifest them or try hard to raise your vibration. Trying hard to raise your vibration doesn't work. Your vibration naturally raises when you relax into your being. To naturally relax into our being, we have to trust to a degree that we are fundamentally safe as the being. And that's not easy, because our egoic personality self feels threatened at the moment, because all of the structures are falling apart. And so how do we manage this juxtaposition between our external reality and our internal experience through the personality self of this reality, this illusional world that we're living in here, and remembering the deeper sense of who we be, right? And that's a choice to do spiritual practices, right? That's a choice to do your yoga nidras, to do your meditations, to do your yoga practices with an intent to experience your beingness flowing through the physical manifestation, rather than get totally fixated on the human, on the personality, right? How do we relax a little bit out of that fixation? Of course, it's natural for the ego to lead while we're in body, and when we're awake and conscious and moving around the world, of course our ego is leading. That's how it should be. So, but we can moderate that to great effect for our sense of calm and peace in ourselves by consistently choosing to remember. Consistently doesn't mean constantly, by the way, right? It means periodically, but consistently, not just randomly. Consistently remembering who we be on a deeper level, and choosing to breathe into that, right? To expand into that and to relax into that, to expand into that and to relax into that. And, 2, 3, 4 breaths of expanding into my beingness, consciously choosing to align myself. That's just an intent. My intention is to align my experience with the truth of my being. And then I relax into how that's going to unfold, because I can't control that. I don't know exactly how it's going to be, because I don't really know my beingness in fullness yet, of course, because it's an ongoing experience. But step by step, I'm experiencing more of my being flowing through my human expression here, because I'm choosing that consistently. Not constantly, right, but consistently. So that's the game. That's the game. It's to set up practices that help us do that. That's how we, I've lost your question now. That's how we stay in that place, and understand that stay in that place is not 100% of the time. Not for anyone on this planet, not the Dalai Lama, not anyone, right? No one is staying in that place of being 100% of the time, and it's not necessary, and it's not even It's not even beneficial for you to stay in that place of being 100% of the time, because then you would miss out on the human experience of being embodied in a human, experience, and with the personality and all of the emotions that are so beautiful for our soul to experience through this body. We're not here to belittle this human experience. We're here to basically accentuate it in a way so it's more empowered, right? That we are more in command of our experience, not controlling the shit out of it so that we avoid all discomfort. That's not the point at all. We are to allow all sorts of awesome opportunities, challenging opportunities to arise, beautiful, joyful ones, and painful, sad ones. All are part of the rich tapestry of being embodied as a human, which is all very exciting and beautiful and beneficial for us as the being. We're here not so much to transcend the human experience, but to transcend the degree of suffering and delusion that we've lost ourselves in over this dark age of the last few thousand years. So, and that's a process, right? And there's no real rush, and there's no real pass or fail. The point is for you, Paul, and many others like you, is to stop being so fucking hard on yourself, right? Stop being so self-critical. Stop trying to achieve something thinking that in that achievement will be your happiness, right? Because your happiness is available right now as you choose to relax into your being. And of course, that happiness might be fleeting, right? Because again, thoughts and doubts will come up, and all sorts of self-criticism will arise, and all sorts of low self-worth and shit will be in your presence. And you get the choice to relax through that again and allow the joy to once again emerge. And again, it will be fleeting. And this is the process. And slowly but surely, we gain more of a foundation in that faith in our beingness, rather than get rocked so heavily by the doubts and the fears that arise and the various pains, whether they're manifesting physically, mentally, or emotionally. Maybe a Libra influence. Okay, I'll read the comment from above. So hopefully that helped, Paul. First and foremost is let go of the belief that faith cannot exist where there are doubts, because truly you can very much honor the faith that you have and still experience many, many doubts. So don't judge yourself as losing faith every time a doubt pops into your mind, right? Because that's a no-win situation, right? Just as much as, we don't lose our confidence just because we're in doubt. It's very normal to be doubting. Confidence And faith is the ability to basically step past the doubts, not to avoid them, not to push them away or compress them. Maria said, faith is the substance of things not seen. Sometimes, Maria, but we can also have faith, a deep level of intrinsic trust in things that we can see. Faith does not just need to be directed towards the divine. You can have faith in a rope that's holding a tree from falling through your car or something. I don't know. We can have faith in things. It's just a deep level trust that's, I guess faith is the ability to trust things that we don't have conclusive proof are trustworthy. So you could say that that's unseen. It's an inner sense, an inner knowing in our heart that something is working for us, something is beneficial, something is quote unquote okay. We have faith in our heart, we have faith in ourselves, we have faith in our beingness, that this experience on this planet is benefiting us and it's not going wrong. We don't need to be stressed. But yeah, it's as always, using words always, everyone has different connotations and different, interpretations of various words, which is always interesting to dance with. I'm going to come up here and hopefully be able to read all of Jill's. No, I just lost it. I'll do it here. Jill said, I decided to ditch my desire to be thought of by everyone. Yeah, okay. I decided to ditch my desire to be thought of by everyone as a really nice, unselfish person today. Only just today, Jill. Because it's an impossible dream. It is actually impossible to be thought of by everyone, or even a significant number of people, as anything. Right, because we don't get to control how other people think of us, and what other people think of us and experience of us is coming through their filters, right, which we have absolutely no control of. So yeah, it's an absolutely no-win situation to try to achieve any particular status in anyone else's impression of us, whether it be their thoughts or their feelings, etc., etc. We have no control over that, and to try and manipulate that or control that is absolutely folly. So yeah, better late than never to ditch that desire. After a week of waiting for paperwork to materialize to back up my recent house purchase offers, I opened it up for more viewings and promptly received an offer 20k more today. I asked for advice all round, and universally I was advised to grab it and ditch the first ones, even though paperwork had finally arrived. Yeah, well, if you've got another offer and you can. I decided to stop making decisions to suit everyone else and say thank you, as I can use it well and progress without guilt. Strange sensation for me. Maybe a Libra influence balancing pros and cons. Yeah, well, there are always pros and cons in everything, and ultimately you have to trust your heart, Jill, and just know whether the second offer is a better offer, even though it's got more money attached. Is it going to go through, etc., etc., right? At the end of the day, nothing is set in stone. But what is important is that you are not trying to be nice for the sake of other people's impression of you, that rather you are staying in integrity with your own heart. That's all that really matters. The only thing that you need to honor is your own heart, your own integrity, your own sense of feeling of what is right. And letting go of all of the programs around, who was in first and who did this and who did that. Of course, we need to take heed of what is legal, right? Because we don't want to get ourselves in hot water, and sometimes we don't know all of the ins and outs of contractual agreements. So, of course, seek guidance on that. But ultimately, it is a free market, and it is a capitalist market at the moment. And go with what feels right. And of course, there is no compulsion, if it's not legally binding, to stick with an offer when someone else is prepared to pay more. So that's how free markets work. So be willing to go with that, especially if it feels expansive, right? Sometimes offers come in that are of a higher figure, but they come with strings attached, right? Longer settlements, different conditions, etc., which might not be so beneficial to you. So you have to wade through the paperwork and the conditions and settlement dates and all of the rest of it to see whether the 20K is actually worth it, especially if it looks like and feels like in your heart that the first offer is going to flow through to completion and will settle in a time frame that is suiting you. So lots to consider, but don't lose yourself in trying to be good, right, and proper in terms of what you've been trained to be, but rather stay in your heart and feel what is most beneficial and purposeful. Because in you serving yourself, you will serve everyone, including the first purchasers, etc., if they miss out. Because obviously it wasn't meant to be, right? If someone else comes in and gazumps them with a higher offer, then obviously they have something else waiting that will serve them better. So this is it. There are no victims on the planet. We have to trust that if we're following our heart and moving forward, that everyone ultimately gets their best outcome, even if they are disappointed in the short term, even if they are quote unquote hurt in the first time, not necessarily, like wounded, you know what I mean? Disappointed. This is the point. So we all have to play this game. None of us can ever go anywhere close to keeping everyone in our life happy with what we're doing, right? Everyone will have a different opinion on what we should do. Like I use the example quite often of, in a particular circumstance, do you please your mother or your wife / partner or your daughter, right? 3 important women in your life. And this is talking from a man's point of view. Do you please your mother, your wife, or your daughter? All 3 of them, very important people in your life, might have a different opinion, desire for what you should do in any particular situation, right? What they consider the right thing for you to do. Which one do you go with? Which one's more important, right? Ultimately, you have to let go of trying to please any of them and do what feels most appropriate to you, which might be a combination. It might be one or the other, but ultimately, trying to please others, trying to keep other people happy with your choices is a no-win situation for any of us. It doesn't mean we directly go out and disappoint others for the sake of it, but we have to always, and it's important to be mindful that others are going to be disappointed with a particular action that we take so that we can potentially help them understand why we are doing what we're doing. It's not about being sort of egoically arrogant and just doing what serves us all of the time without taking into consideration other people's feelings or wants or desires of us, but to overly sacrifice yourself to try and please others or maintain favor with others is always going to be a no-win situation, and it just induces stress because you spend so much time trying to analyze, like in that thing, mother, wife, daughter, trying to create a hierarchy there about the various repercussions on who you please and who you displease, and how you're going to, intellectually plan to get through this whole event, right? It's very, very draining, very, very stress-inducing, and from that place of stress, you ultimately disappoint everyone, including yourself. So, as I said, it's a no-win situation for all of us to try and do the world in this way. We have to come back to honouring our own heart and doing it in a way that is compassionate and conciliatory with others around us, right? We have to take into account all of these relationships that we are maintaining, and to speak truthfully and honestly and lovingly from our heart as to why we are making choices that we are making, so that other people understand that we're not necessarily snubbing them or being mean to them. We're just not necessarily doing what they want us to do because it doesn't actually serve us to do what they want us to do. So this is the point. Brother Rich, hello. So Jill said the proceedability of both couples was the same, but I figured feeling goody-goody and trying to please everyone and not temporarily upsetting the first one wasn't going to put food on the table or fuel in my car, and that was the most important thing right now. Yeah, as long as it feels good in your heart, Jill, go with it. This is the point. And it's difficult because overcoming those desires to be the righteous person, the virtuous person, by honouring our word, which has been a very strong program on this planet for a long time, that we should honour our word. If we promise something, then we should do it, right? That's bullshit, because, you know, when we promise to do things, things can change from that moment forward, as they quite often do. And with new information and situations evolving, we should always feel free to make a new choice. As I said before, the thing that we should honour is our heart and our deeper knowing, not words that we've spoken in the past. And so this is a big program to unwind, and it's a program that has kept many of us locked in all sorts of unsatisfactory, non-beneficial situations in the past. Many of us have promised our allegiance to various relationships only to find the relationship changes quite significantly, or the people we're relating to change quite significantly, situations change quite significantly, and we feel trapped now in a situation that's not benefiting us or not in integrity with who we're choosing to be. And so moving forward from that space is not great. So, and you know, we've done it in the past. I've got some very strong memories about all sorts of shit that's happened around, you know, promising allegiances in the past to various entities, and then of course those entities change their objectives that no longer are in alignment with my integrity and objectives, but then feeling that I have to honor my word because that's the important thing, that's the virtuous thing to do, that's the righteous thing to do, and then regretting it significantly as time progresses. So it's time to opt out of this program that we have to do what we said we're going to do, and that honoring our word is very important. I don't believe it is very important. I'm not saying that we should just make promises and break them all the time. It's probably better that we don't make so many promises. That we sort of caveat all of our spoken intent with the idea that if things change, then I'm likely to change my mind. You know, it's been made so wrong on this planet to change your mind. It's, you know, we label it as fickle and this and that, because the powers that be don't want people changing their minds all the time. It's very hard to do business with entities that are changing their mind all of the time. But we're shifting out, we're expanding out of the old ways of doing business, where we don't need so much the predictability of supply and demand that we needed in the past, right? We don't, as we move forward, we're not going to need this contractual agreement locked in. We're going to trust more that if someone can't do it, someone else will, and we don't need to contract and hold to account the person who said they were going to do it if their situations change, because we will trust that if their situations changed, obviously something different is going to happen for me too, and I will have my needs met. And I don't need to worry, and I don't need to now sue this person because they're not going to give me what they said they're going to give me in the past. And I was counting on it, and now I'm really disappointed and scared that I'm going to miss out. Right? That's a very lack mentality way of doing the world. And so we're all being invited to relax out of this mentality of lack, where we stick very strongly to these contractual agreements and promises. Jill said, as a bonus, I then found out the new estate agent is a close friend with the head of the firm of solicitors I'm using, so that they won't let the hassles I've gone through there either. Okay, awesome. Susie said, I've noticed recently that when making plans, I always leave the gate open for possible need to change the plans. Seems like nothing is in stone at the moment. Flexible. Yeah, and that's exactly right, Susie. That's exactly the way we're all being enticed to move forward. And it's difficult because a lot of us struggle then with feeling that we are not being deliberate enough, or we're not being, what's the right word, when we go all in on something. So, you know, because in the past we've been told that to succeed, you need to go all in. You need to put all of your eggs in the basket, and you need to go for something with certainty. And there is, you know, there is some benefit to that focus on what you are choosing to do, and to not allow all of the different sort of side influences to keep washing you from side to side. There, as a single pointed focus is very, very powerful way of achieving an outcome when it's appropriate. And so the point is to recognize more, and this is, I think we're moving into this opportunity where we can allow ourselves to be focused without necessarily being completely contracted into it, right? Without feeling like a failure if we do change. So we lead ourselves, our focus is more love-based than fear-based, right? We're not so mentally disciplined from the idea of fearing failure, but we're more aligned with the idea of achieving what we love. Hey, Brother Paul, I did speak to your question a little earlier. I'm probably gone over time, to be completely honest. I have, well and truly. So, my friends, I'm going to move on here. Hopefully that all helps. Thank you very much for contributing to the conversation this morning. I wish you much love, and I will speak to you again next week. Bye for now. If you need help, reach out. Namaste.